It's my 19.2 OAA assignment. So, starting off with skiing. Skiing is a sport done in the mountains or on indoor slopes. Skis are worn on the athlete's feet and poles are used also. There are many different styles of skiing such as racing, off-piste and ski jumping. That's like an overview of the sport. Then the risk assessment. So one of the first hazards is falling over and hitting yourself on some of the hard ice. Controls, so snow pisted, fake snow was placed on the slopes. Risk rating of 6, and an action could be to require everyone to wear helmets so they are protected if they hit their head. Crashing into another skier at fast speed, so skier coming past, the skier below has to avoid them. Risk rating of 6, if you do crash it probably is going to be quite bad. Monitor the amount of people on the slope so they do not become overcrowded would be one action. Skis falling off and the brake not working, so they fall and hit someone. Brakes are used on skis and they are checked by the ski hire shops to make sure they work. Risk rating of 4. Make sure everyone wears helmets and checks that the brakes work at the top of the runs. An avalanche falling down a run, so ski runs are closed if there is a high risk of an avalanche. Risk rating of 5. Make sure that everyone is trained who works on ski slopes to know when an avalanche is coming and what to do if one does happen. Skiing into a pole, showing the colour of the run. So if it's a red run and you crash into the pole that shows it's red, it's going to hurt. So it's a risk rating of 3. Poles are designed to be knocked over and take the impact. However, obviously it might still hurt. Make sure the poles are coloured correctly and are bright colour so they can be seen clearly at all times. So the equipment needed. Knee guards, these will help to protect the skier from falling and hitting their knees hard on ice. Back protectors, these will offer support and they're very important during skiing. It's very likely the skier will fall and land on their back or neck, therefore this will help prevent the skier from doing any permanent damage. Wrist guards, so it's natural instinct to put your arms out to brace your fall when falling forwards. When travelling fast down a mountain, this could very easily break your wrist, therefore wearing the wrist guards will help prevent this. Helmet, so this is necessary as skiers can fall and hit their heads a lot, so we'll need their head to be protected to prevent any head injuries. If someone was to get injured on the slopes, the first thing you should do is check there are no other dangers around them. For example, if they're stranded in like the middle of a slope, then they could get knocked by another skier, so it might be necessary to move them to the side. Then if they're in a safe position, you should signal to someone to notify ski patrol to send assistance. They will then check for any danger and proceed to treat the injury. So climate change has meant that snowfall has become sort of less and less each year. To help maintain levels of snow, artificial snow is used, which uses a lot of energy and water. This therefore is polluting the wildlife and using a lot of water and energy. Adaptation. So I feel the risk assessment covers most of the key areas such as crashing, falling and avalanches, but I feel there's one area it doesn't cover. This is the fact the risk assessment doesn't have precautions for beginner skiers. So it's normal for ski culture for kind of typical lads to go in big groups, maybe for a stag do or something, get quite drunk while they try to learn to ski. This will therefore pose a risk for normal skiers. Drunk skiers could crash into other skiers or fall in bad places to make bad crashes and kind of get in the way of other people. The environmental factors are difficult to find a way around. This is due to the fact that snowfall is decreasing yearly and this cannot be prevented in the short term. The fake snow machine does use a lot of energy and water, but does do a good job of preventing slopes from becoming too icy and having enough snow on them. So moving on to surfing. Surfing is very similar to kind of snowboarding, although it's done in the sea. Surfers have surfboards which they use to ride on top, through and along waves. As surfers get better, they try and conquer bigger waves. So the first risk is getting stuck in a riptide and drowning. So the lifeguard stations are there watching in areas where surfing is promoted. Risk rating of 5. So using jet skis to man the surf to save anyone in danger of getting stuck in a rip would be a good action. Crashing into another surfer, so controls would be to make sure surfers are checking where they're going and that there is room to do so. Risk rating of 6. Action could be to speak to other surfers to tell them when and where you are going. Falling off of the surfboard whilst riding a huge wave at high speed. Lifeguards are stationed to see anyone taking big falls. Risk rating of 6. Know your limits and therefore don't try harder waves than you are capable of. Falling off and getting your feet wrapped around the strap, not being able to swim properly, and potentially drowning. Lifeguards patrolling the surfing area are in place to keep track of anyone in trouble. Risk rating of 6. Get your own surfboard which is made to fully suit your body size and type to prevent parts getting tangled. Falling off and getting eaten by a shark. Shark cages are placed in the sea to stop them getting onto the beach, or not onto the beach, like onto the surfing areas. Risk rating of 5. Lifeguards check the beach and do shark watches to make sure it's all safe. They also have shark alarms to set off if there is a shark spotted so everyone comes in. The equipment used. Longer boards are used to surf bigger waves. This will then make it safer for someone to do bigger wave surfing, as it helps the balance to be easier. Jet skis are necessary as well, as they'll be able to get any casualties very quickly. They'll also be able to tow surfers into waves to make it easier for them to pick up speed. Wetsuits are also needed to keep the surfer warm when in the sea. This will help comfort, therefore the surfers are more relaxed when surfing. If anyone was to get injured when surfing, then the procedure would be to keep them above water, prevent them from drowning, get them out of any danger they're in, signal to the lifeguards or a jet ski to help, and if the airways are blocked, try to unblock them as long as it is safe to do so. When surfing, marine life can be damaged. This includes fish, coral reefs, beaches, which all can be harmed by surfers using their jet skis with fuel and surfboards crashing into different marine life. So looking at the risk assessment, it does cover most aspects including sharks, crashes and drowning. However, I feel the risk assessment does not cover the aspect of being on the beach. There could be difficult terrain such as rocks and cliff edges to climb over to get to the sea in certain places where the waves are the best. Therefore, the surfers could slip and fall, in turn breaking bones or cutting themselves. So, to improve the environment, I feel it would be acceptable to surf in areas designated to be surfed. So, section off parts of the beach just for surfing. This will therefore prevent certain areas from getting destroyed by massive surfboards and jet skis. Bouldering. So bouldering is very similar to rock climbing, however it's done without a harness. So bouldering consists of climbing up a rock face with nothing stopping you from falling. You have no harness on. Falling onto someone stood below the rock face. So control would be no standing below where someone else is climbing. With rating of 6. Place a railing between the standing area to prevent people from going under the rock. Hitting your head on the rock face. Wear helmets when climbing. Rating of 6. Instruct participants techniques to prevent them from hitting their heads, so they're always protected from smacking their heads. Falling when reaching the top of the rock. Have floor padded to brace falls to prevent injury. This rating of 6. Use chalk to stop hands from slipping. Hitting yourself on one of the handles to put your hand in. Have the floor padded so if anyone does fall they are still safe. This rating of 6. Use chalk on the wall to make sure everyone can grip it. Getting clothing stuck on one of the hooks causing you to fall. Wear clothing that is tight to make sure they do not slip when on the wall. With rating of 4. If people wearing baggy clothing, restrict them to the easiest climbs. So safety mat. This is crucial as it's very easy to fall when bouldering. Therefore, a mat to brace an athlete's fall is very important. It could save their life. Climbing gloves are very important as they will help to protect an athlete's hands when facing the rock, when climbing the rock faces. One piece of equipment needed is chalk, as this will help to grip the wall without having sweaty hands all over it. If someone was to get injured bouldering, then it's very important to remove them from any other danger they're in. Then it's key to check for any neck or back injuries. If so, then support their back. An ambulance must then be called if necessary, and the athlete shouldn't move in case of any other injuries which could be worsened. Bouldering is mainly done indoors now, which prevents the natural rock faces getting destroyed by all the chalk put on the rock faces. Also, the pressure put on the rocks by all of the climbers can ruin parts of the rock. So I feel the risk assessment from bouldering is good, however it doesn't cover the fact that athletes could very easily pull and tear muscles when bouldering. This could be due to poor warm-ups. To prevent this, they should ensure warm-ups are completed to fully stretch and promote blood flow to the athlete's muscles. If this is not done, then the athletes could very easily fall and hit themselves on the rock as they pull a muscle. I feel to save the environment, all bouldering should be done inside, as you can see on the picture. This makes the sport a lot safer and will save rock faces from being polluted by chalk and from the climbers. Climbers will also damage the rock from simply climbing on it, so it should be done inside. Parachuting. Parachuting is a sport which is done where an athlete jumps out of a plane. They then have a backpack which in it is a parachute. They then release this at a certain height and free fall using the parachute. They can then turn and do stuff in the air with it. Parachute not opening is the first hazard. Parachutes are regularly checked before flight, risk rating of 5. Make sure parachutes are working prior to flight and spare parachutes are worn. Parachutes being twisted. Parachutes are checked before flights and are untangled after flights, risk rating of 5. Additional parachutes are worn to prevent the parachute from twisting. The plane crashing when going to the parachuting area. Planes go under checks before taking off, risk rating of 5. Plane drivers have to undergo specific training to make sure they are fully fit to fly. Landing in a tree. Have certain landing zones where there is no risk of trees, risk rating of 3. Make sure landing zones have a large area around them where there is no obstructions. Colliding into another parachute. Make sure parachutes are always aware of their surrounding and know where to go, risk rating of 5. Only let one parachute go at once so they do not crash. Equipment needed is goggles to prevent things going in your eyes when you're going down at fast speeds. A helmet to stop you hitting your head, so if you misplace your landing, you don't then knock yourself out and your head's protected. Spare parachute to prepare the athlete for any mishaps, so if the other parachute doesn't open or it's twisted, you've got a spare to potentially save your life. The planes will cause a lot of environmental pollution due to the petrol that's being burnt when they fly, so this could definitely damage the environment and cause global warming. So adaptations, I feel the risk assessment is good, but I don't think it covers all aspects. For example, it covers aspects when on the plane, but it'd be very normal for it doesn't cover aspects when on the plane, is what I meant to say. It would be very normal for athletes to become very nervous when flying in the plane, to jump. When doing this, they could become sick and feel unwell, kind of nauseous. This would then need instructors to calm the person down and help them with their sickness. I feel the best way to cut down environmental pollution would be to cut down the pollution given out by planes, have them situated very close to the jump sites, therefore cut down flight time and ensure the planes are only running for as short time as possible. So from when they take off, they're really close to where the people are going to jump out. They literally just go up, jump out, come back down. They don't have to fly a long way to the jump sites and fly a long way back.